then your mind will not wander. But your mind is so powerful even after reciting in Arabic and recollecting the meaning, yet it can wander. But if you concentrate on the meaning, inshallah, your mind will never wander, because you cannot concentrate 100% on two different things. So if you offer salah correctly, if you know Arabic as a language, nothing like it. If you don't know Arabic, at least recollect the meaning and concentrate on the meaning. If you concentrate on the meaning, inshallah, your mind will never wander. So if you offer salah correctly, with khushu, your mind will never wander. And he is famous for his technique of breathing, the Sudarshan Kriya. And he further said later that I am very pleased for having come to such common grounds in such a large presence. Tens of thousands of people gathered, such a large presence. He's very happy. And he's happy that scriptures are being recited, and every human being should know at least little bit of the scriptures of other religions, which I agree. But he says that you should not criticize. You should not criticize other religions, which I did mention in my talk. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Anam, chapter number 6, verse number 108, revile not gods who they worship besides Allah, lest in their ignorance they will revile Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not abuse, do not speak bad about gods who they worship besides Allah, lest in their ignorance they will abuse, they will revile Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should not unnecessarily make a mockery of the other religions. But imagine, by he saying do not criticize, actually he is criticizing others. So in terms of logic, he's tripping himself. By saying don't criticize, he's telling to others, he's criticizing the others, and he himself is not following his own rule. And he further says that logic, there are three things or three types of logic. And he says three words. One is tarka, second is vitarka, and the other is kutarka. And he gives an example of kutarka, that if we say that the door is half closed, it means it is half open. So if someone says the door is half closed, it means half open. That does not mean if someone says the door is fully closed, it is fully open. So this he calls as kutarka, his understanding. My understanding, if I have to say in English, this is called illogical. He calls kutarka, I say illogical. If someone says door is half closed, means half open, that doesn't mean if someone says door is fully closed, it means fully open. Normally, this logic is picked up from mathematics of equations. That if I say A is equal to B, then 2A is equal to 2B, 10A is equal to 10B. Or if I say that with 1 rupee, I can buy 1 pen, that means with 10 rupees I can buy 10 pens. This is equation of mathematics, equality, which we learn in school. Nothing great. But this you cannot use for abstract things or things which are opposite. If we use this logic, half closed means half open. So normally when any equation is there, 2a is equal to 2b or 2x is equal to 2y, we have a common denominator. 2 divided by 2, so x is equal to y, or a is equal to b. If 2 is equal to 2b, you divide by 2, then a is equal to b. Or if 2x is equal to 2y, if you divide by 2 both the sides, then the equation is x is equal to y. Now one thing, to prove anything is illogical, you have to logically prove it is illogical. Just by saying it's illogical doesn't carry weight. You may understand, you may realize there's something gadbad hai isme. Half closed is half open. That doesn't mean fully closed, fully open. You have realized there is some problem. But unless and until you don't logically prove it wrong, just by saying it's illogical may not carry weight. It may be true, but it may not convince the other person. So to convince the other person, when anyone gives an example which is illogical, you have to logically give a second example to cut it down, not by saying it is wrong. For example, if someone says 2 plus 2 equal to 3, or someone says 5 plus 5 is equal to 8. So you have to logically prove, not say it is wrong, or mathematical equation wise, or tell him, okay, you give me 5 rupees, give me 5 rupees, I'll give you 8 rupees. Or you give me 2 rupees, give me 2 rupees, I'll give you 3. He'll say no. So always you have to give a counter example and logically prove that logical example wrong. Otherwise, it may not convince the other person. On the face of it, we understand the door half closed is equal to half open. Doesn't mean fully closed or fully open, but in mathematics, the equation is there. So what we have to do, we have to realize this mathematical equation does not hold good for abstract things, point number 1. Like close, open, these abstract. Secondly, if it is the opposite, this equation may not hold good. For example, if someone says half closed is equal to half open, if you divide by half both the sides or multiply by 2 both the sides, the answer is closed is equal to open. Is it true? No. So if you divide by half both the sides and remove the common denominator or multiply by 2 both the sides, it becomes closed is equal to open, which is true. No person will ever say. So this type, if you understand, is abstract. Similarly, if I say the glass is half empty, means it is half full. That doesn't mean full empty means full full. If it's half empty means half full, doesn't mean complete empty means complete full. Because again, this is abstract. And secondly, it is opposite. Close and open opposite. Full and empty is opposite. So here, this will not hold good. Because it's opposite. In the opposite, the rule of mathematics is that if you take out from the complete whole minus the opposite, the balance is the other opposite. For example, if I have to prove half closed is equal to half open, so my logical formula is that 1 minus that portion, the balance is the opposite. So 1 minus half, balance is how much? Half. So therefore half open is half closed. But if it is quarter open, so 1 minus quarter, it is 3/4. So quarter open is 3/4 closed. Full open is 1 minus full, the answer is 0. So full open means 0 closed, means not open. So the logic of mathematics, he's using the wrong formula, which for a layman he may understand it is wrong, but he may not know how to counter argue. And this logic of Shri Ravi Shankar of Kutarka, I have heard in several of his tapes, but never has he disproved it logically. He says this Kutarka is wrong. He says it, but doesn't disprove it logically. So to say it is wrong, on the face of it, it looks right. But normal people understand it is wrong, but they cannot disprove it logically. So this is what happens. Just because someone gives a logical argument, and if someone cannot disprove it, that doesn't mean it is the truth. So just because someone cannot disprove the door half closed is half open, it means full closed and full open, that doesn't mean it is right. So this he calls that Kutarka, I call it illogical. And that's what you see, that though Shri Ravi Shankar says you should not depend on logic, many of his examples are nothing but logic. Some may be right, many agree, some I disagree. But when we disagree, we have to give a counter argument to prove it is Kutarka, to prove it is illogical. Unless you don't do that, it will be difficult for people to understand. And Shri Ravi Shankar, he further says that God is all loving, is all love. You know, people normally have an allegation, even the Christians, that, oh, in Islam, the God is merciless and revengeful and angry and this and blah, blah, blah. In Christianity, God is love, you know, etc., etc. The closest that I can come in the Quran is the verse of the Quran from Surah Buruj, chapter number 85, verse number 14, which says, Huwa al-Ghafurul Wadud, that he is of forgiving and full of loving kindness. One of the attributes is Wadud, full of loving kindness. The same thing is repeated in Surah Hud, chapter number 11, verse number 90, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful and full of loving kindness. He is Wadud. And there are several verses of the Quran talking about the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, Allah says in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 13, that Allah loves those who are kind. Allah says in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 42, that Allah loves those who are just. Allah says in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 93, that Allah loves those who do good. And there are several verses of the Quran where Allah says Allah loves these things and these people, etc. So in this context, yes, Allah is full of loving kindness.